Thank you. Okay, it is Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024 at 7 p.m. and I'd like to call the Village Board of Regular Trustees meeting to order. And our short invocation is, Father, we ask for your wisdom, guidance, and discernment in the decisions we make that affect our village and its residents. We also ask you to watch over our police and all first responders who serve, and please look over all the folks now that as we celebrate our Independence Day, so they can have a safe, happy Independence Day. Roll call, please.
Trustees Keller,
Here.
Here,
Here.
Nelson,
Here.
Olson,
Here.
Porter,
Here.
Pike,
Here.
and President Wecken.
Here. Okay, item 2 is review and approve minutes from the regular board meeting of June 4, 2024.
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks, Dusty. Any comments, questions, or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you. Item 3 is comments from the floor. This is an opportunity for the Village of North Hudson residents, property owners, and business owners to make the board aware of topics, issues, and opportunities not on today's agenda. Is there anyone here that would like to make comments from the floor? Hearing none. We'll move on to new business. President's comments, as I said earlier with the invocation, we hope that everyone has a happy, safe Independence Day. And as a plug to our neighbors to the south, they are celebrating Booster Days, despite the torrential floods that we have down there. But they will be, and the last time I talked with the mayor, he said fireworks are on, unlike Stillwater, who canceled theirs. So Sunday night, fireworks at dusk. The booster schedule is out there. They've got a lot of events, a lot of food trucks. It's always a good time down there. Parade's on Saturday at 11, so I hope everyone has a blessed weekend. Gina.
We have a couple of items within the general government area. One, we are finalizing our new website. It should be available for review by board by the second week in July. Again, the goal of this website is to really be able to better showcase the village, as well as create a more robust online self-service experience for our residents. So we're hoping to automate as much as possible. Not that we don't want to see people in the office, but to give them the option to be able to do a lot more things from home, like licenses and burn permits and that kind of stuff. So we did ask for pictures from the community as we prepare for our new website, and I did have a couple people take us up on that. So if you have a picture of the village that you just love and would like to share, go ahead and send that to me, and we'll see if we can get it incorporated into the new site. We are preparing already for another election. We have our August primary on Tuesday the 13th. We encourage people to go ahead of time to myvote.wi.gov to register if you have not done so already. That's where you can find out who is on the ballot, as well as if you wanted to request an absentee. It can all be done online, saves time when you come in on the 13th. Because this is a primary, there is no crossover voting, so we'll have lots of signs that remind people. You will pick a party, and then you choose within that party. What is up for election or for the primary is U.S. Senator, Congress, Representative, State Senator, St. Croix County District Attorney, St. Croix County Clerk, St. Croix County Treasurer, and St. Croix County Register of Deeds. So that'll be on August 13th. We did submit reimbursement grant paperwork to the DNR for the $5,000 that we were awarded for the 30 EAB trees that were taken down. I will note that we did approve an additional $5,000 out of the village's budget, and the Public Works team got through, they got through 30 trees with that additional $5,000. They actually took rented out equipment instead of hiring it out. And the equipment was a little bit less than that, $3,700, and they did nothing but that for about 2 weeks, and they're happy the equipment has been returned. But they were able to make some great progress by doing it themselves, so kudos to those guys. The work to replace the stairs outside of the boardroom here will begin hopefully later this month. Again, we're trying to make an ADA compliant ramp so that not only when we have elections but other events in here, that can be an exit for people who need that versus having to try and squeeze out that door. That again was a part of our 2024 budget. And then just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention because it will be the first time we're seeing a peddler's license or a temporary license for St. Croix Cigar Company. They are applying for a license to come to Pepperfest, and that would be reviewed in the August meeting. It's the first time we've ever had a peddler for that purpose. So just wanted to give you a heads up that they are applying for that.
Is that the cigar shop from Hudson? Okay.
That is it.
Thank you. All right. Item 5, temporary class parent B / parent class B license, North Hudson Pepper Festival, Inc., August 16th through the 18th.
Stand and move to approve the temporary Class quote B fermented malt beverages and quote Class B wine license for North Hudson Pepper Festival, Inc., with an effective date of August 16 through 18, 2024.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Barb. And any comments or questions?
Is there a recommendation from the chief for this one?
There is not. Well, a couple of things. One, the forms for the alcohol licenses have changed in 2024, and there is no requirement to have a signature for an application for the Pepperfest. He did review.
And honestly, I've never done one for the Pepper.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the temporary license for the Pepper Festival for the August 16th through the 18th, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 6, updates to employee handbook, motion statement, approval requested. Gina? Background?
Yep, so our current handbook has not been updated for quite some time. So the allowances for meals within there were broken down at breakfast $10, lunch $13, and dinner at $27. What we're asking for, given the current economy, is that we increase these amounts, and obviously manager discretion, but we feel it's too low to cover a meal, a beverage, and a tip at most places, especially where a lot of the training are taking place is more in the bigger cities. So we're asking for an increase while staff is traveling for work to $15 for breakfast, $25 for lunch, and $35 for dinner.
Questions or comments?
There's one.
We should have a motion first.
Yeah.
Stand and move to approve an increase in daily meal allowances for staff while traveling for work to $15 for breakfast, $25 for lunch, and $35 for dinner within the employee handbook, and fix a typo in the current version of the handbook that addresses full-time, non-exempt personnel on-call schedules from 2 hours to 1.5.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
I second.
Thanks, Barb. Any comments or questions at all?
So Gina, how did you come up with the dollar amounts? They seem higher than the state and the federal
Sure.
levels.
I contacted our HR consultant attorney and asked a couple of questions. The first was, does it make sense to do more of a per diem? Do we stick with per meal, and what would be, do you think, an acceptable amount? I also worked with Chief, who his department does a lot of the training out of the area, so they do a lot of the traveling. So based on the experiences that they've had in their recent trips and what's realistic. So the two sources is what how we came up with those dollars.
Thank you.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor of the updates to the employee's handbook, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 7, adopt general record schedule, motion statement, approval requested. Is there a motion?
Stan, I move to adopt the Wisconsin Municipal and Related Records General Record Schedule. This will supersede Article 6, destruction of obsolete records found in the North Hudson Code of Ordinances.
Thank you, Brian. Is there a second?
Sec-
Oh, you got it, Mary? Go, you got it.
All right, who's going to
Yes.
take credit? Mary?
This end of the table.
Yeah, all right, yeah, Gina, I'm thinking. Okay, Gina, you want to give a quick update or?
Sure. So in August of 2018, the state came up with a public records board that approved a records retention schedule that could be adopted by all municipalities. The intent of it was to standardize retention records across the state. It also prevents you from having to go back to the Historical Society with each type of document and request approval at the document. They kind of took a broad spectrum of all documents that a municipality would potentially have at their hands and gave guidance on what to do with each of those documents. And so, not really sure, but for various reasons, we didn't fully adopt that records policy, and the request by our department is to help us move through the paper clutter, begin to organize, begin to digitize where possible, so that items are easier to locate, just because we have something. If there's 20, 30 years of it and we only need 7, it makes it very hard to find sometimes. So our go-forward strategy is to really focus on creating less paper and having more stuff digitized. We did confirm with the Historical Society that the retention can be either paper or digital, so the retention policy is the same for the documents regardless of how it's stored. So we would like to adopt that policy so we can begin organizing and.
So this doesn't get rid of any records, it just digitizes them?
It does get rid of some records. So, for example, we have copies of utility bills from 20 years ago that, according to this, we don't need. And so things like those we would.
Poof, yeah, I'm
rid
good
of.
with that.
Yep.
What about board minutes and stuff
All
like
of
that?
that is permanent, and that
Okay,
would all
good.
stay. Yep.
Great.
Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All in favor of the motion to adopt the general record schedule for motion statement, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item 8, comprehensive plan update, review of county estimate, discussion, and possible action. Let's see, we need a motion, I suppose, to start this. Or is there a motion in there?
There is not. Do we need one for a discussion?
Yeah, possible.
Discussion, possible action, so, well, do we need a,
No, you can talk about it, and there's folks who want to present information, let them do that.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that. And I'll just kind of maybe kick it off, and then we can do some intro. So, Mary, as I mentioned to you guys in an email, has done a lot of work to begin to educate our plan commission on what it means to create a comprehensive plan and what that looks like, what the goals of a comprehensive plan are, what we've done in the past, et cetera. So she did a lot of work to put that together and presented last month, which was fantastic. She also kicked off several conversations, including one with the county, and about how to get assistance for our plan commission in order to start to build out a comprehensive plan. Again, ours is only good through 2026, and then we would need a new one. So we're just starting those early conversations. And I don't know, Mary, if you have anything you want to add to that. All right, so we do have a couple of people here from the county. If you want to go up to the podium, you can announce and talk a little bit about your engagement.
Well, good evening. I am Jason Cheesit, Community Development Director for St. Croix County, and I got Nicole Peterson here, and that also from our office. She's the planner that would be helping the village if you so choose to move forward with a comprehensive plan update. Basically, the county just updated our comprehensive plan across the whole county, and that was approved in March. And our county comprehensive plan is mainly focused on the towns within the county.
Don't worry about me.
Okay.
Carry on.
But we do help a lot of our other municipalities, mainly towns, and that with their comprehensive plan update. The comprehensive plan is required by statute, and there's really 9 essential elements to the comprehensive plan. And so the goal of a comprehensive plan is to lay out what you see the village being and that in the next 20 years. You know, where do we want to get to? And the comprehensive plan then is used as a main guiding document for policy decisions and ordinances, and that to make sure that that goal happens or that you're moving in the right direction for that goal. So the important elements are the introduction, which has a lot of demographic information for the normal public. I find that that's probably one of the most interesting chapters, just because they're learning about population, income level, male-female breakdown, you know, within the village. It also has housing, transportation, utilities and community facilities, which is something that the village will have a little bit more on than our normal town plans, because you provide municipal water and sewer and that to your village. And then agricultural, natural, and cultural, and that elements of it. And then economic development, intergovernmental cooperation, which is kind of one of the reasons why we're offering, or we can take and help with the comprehensive plan, is to take and improve the relationship between the county and the village and that, so that we work back and forth. And again, probably one of the biggest one is the land use chapter. That's where, you know, your zoning comes into place and where you want your commercial or where you want more housing density. And then the last one is just your implementation chapter, which is really how do we want to move forward and what are our goals and objectives in that in order to put this plan into effect. So that is kind of, long story short, it's a 12-month process. So it is not short. We would be taking and mainly meeting with the planning commission and that, but any of the village board members that would want to attend those events. We engage the public through our public participation meetings. We usually do a survey, but the village would be able to provide input as far as what you would like to do or at what level you'd like to have the public involved. So there's some statutory requirements that we have to do, but if you want to do more or less, we can do more. So, yep.
You can have time for this and build bike trails at the same time?
Nicole has time for this, and she's very, very thorough, is what I'll say. So, yep. And so as far as just kind of internally, and that we actually meet and that, so John Hilgers and Brett Boudreau, also members on our team, and that we actually meet, we go through the draft as we're drafting it, and then we take and propose it to you. Any changes from your current comprehensive plan, we document in a memo format so that you know exactly what is being changed, so you don't have to take and compare one version to the other version without any red lines in there, so that we're not trying to hide anything. I mean, it's not St. Croix County's plan, it is really the Village of North Hudson's plan. So that's the goal.
Anybody else have comments or questions?
Well, I'd just like to say I just worked with the county for the town of Richmond and John Hilder, and you as well, I think, right? And they did a great job. They were very helpful to the town. They walked the town through everything, and they had great information, and it really helped out that process. And it can be a lot of work, and these guys really take the burden off the Plan Commission if you choose to get them involved, and I would certainly recommend them.
So,
Anybody else?
timing-wise, how soon do we, I mean, he said it takes a year. How soon should we be starting a project like this?
Well, a year is probably on the smaller end of it. And
Kinda wondered.
so, yeah, and so we got 2026, you want to make sure you have enough time, so we would say probably we should get started earlier. That way, if the planning commission or the village wants to take more time, we can build in more time and we're not crunched at doing it. There's also going to be some cooperation or some meetings in that are going to be needed between the city of Hudson for the sewer and the water and that we would have with your staff, so just coordinating the time frame there. So,
Are there like approval steps along the way for each portion, or is there one-time approval of the whole thing?
yeah, so we got kind of a schedule here and we're open to other options. But basically, if we were to start this process right away, we would be meeting with the village board again and that in July or August. And then we would want to take and get into more specifics on what kind of survey you would like to do with the people within the village, what kind of public visioning session you would like to have. And then we would go over the overall schedule, how many chapters you'd like to tackle at a time. And then we would have that public meeting and that in September to take and get their input. Some of these meetings and that can be really, really successful with the public, and that as far as a board or a planning commission, because you kind of see that everybody's saying the same thing. We're happy, we want to keep it rural for agricultural, or we want to take and see more housing, which really helps in the development of the whole plan. Other ones, you might get a spatter effect, and that where you get a little bit here and everything.
So
So
you're talking public?
public
Public comes in
involvement.
and puts
Yep.
their input.
Yep.
And are these at plan meetings or board meetings?
And so it would be a planning commission meeting, and that we would also try to encourage on the public engagement process. We would encourage that the village would be part of that meeting as well, because you'll be able to hear from your members of the public what is their concerns. So some of the things that we have, and that as part of the survey questions too, that you'll get feedback on, are like if, finances and that allowed, what are some of the priorities where the village should be spending their money, and do we have adequate housing? Do we have adequate law enforcement within the community? So those are all different questions, and you'll be able to create your own questions. I'm just throwing out some examples so that you can solicit the feedback that you want as part of this plan process, or when we're asking questions, if maybe you got other things that you just want to ask the community, maybe about park spaces or bike trails, and see what the feedback or the response is.
Okay, thanks.
I know that we've got a couple different estimates for cost, and the factor that changes the amount of the estimate is how much public engagement we have. And I just want to ask the board to consider having as much public engagement as we can manage under our budget, because that's really where we're going to hear from people and really know that the plan is reflecting what the community wants. I just think it'll be so helpful to us long range to have that kind of a document that really reflects the voice of the community for making decisions, especially tough budget decisions in the future. So like investment now to hear the community will help us in making sure that we are reflecting their wishes in the years to come.
Are you meaning by public involvement, are you talking about the surveys or the public meetings?
Right, both. So so the county gave us different options that I'm sure they'll talk about when we have whatever next meeting we have for doing the survey. Also, having visioning meetings, a public open house, just kind of the level of time I'm sure that it would take them to work with us to get people out, to put notices out about meetings and information and get people in.
So the county is proposing a set fee in that, and so within reason, in that we're open to whatever public engagement process you would like to take and do. So we don't necessarily change our fee, but we're open, and that would be something that we would be talking about, is how much do you want to take and have. So, yep.
So the original, I thought we had an estimate of like between this and this.
And that.
Between these two dollar
So
amounts.
the amount would be 12,000. So, yep, that is the proposed amount.
Thank you.
And just in complete transparency, the town plans that we've done and that were 8,000. And that, but due to the municipal water and sewer and that, we expect some extra meetings and extra plan development for those improvements. So just in complete transparency, we're just trying to estimate. Basically, we tried to figure out our hourly rate at $50 an hour, and we go over that 8,000 every time. So that's why, it's just so that you guys aren't on the hook as far as, oh, we come back, we got another invoice for you. It's a capped amount, so.
Well, once the plans, once we get there and the plan's adopted and it's been successful in the process, then what? I mean, is this now just left up to us? We have this plan. I mean, are there follow-up meetings? Are there recommendations? I mean, how do we, it's kind of like develop a plan, but then how do you stick to the plan? And how do you update the plan as time goes on? Because none of us are certainly going to nail it for the next 26 years.
That's probably where the expertise of any planning consultant that you have and that help you with a plan would be in the implementation chapter, because that is really how, if you do what the implementation chapter says, and it'll come out and it'll say, amend land use ordinances and that to allow for an increased housing district, or a multifamily district, whatever that might be. It might be TIFs or TIDs, based. So that's what would really help the board members in that follow that plan to get towards that end goal.
Okay.
And of course, we're always available for questions too.
Yeah, because plan, it's so important. I know I've worked for companies that came up with great plans, but then the plans were never followed. And I've worked with companies, but it's so much that has to do with, it's great to use for that decision-making background process, but it has to be almost utilized regularly, or else it can just kind of
absolutely
get
you don't
lost.
want to take and have them collecting dust.
Right.
And that's one of the things in that back to the public engagement, I kind of had a mind blank there, but the public engagement side of it, a lot of times they're very educational meetings in that for the public. And so they might come in thinking one thing and when you explain, how the whole process or what the demographics really look like or what kind of budget constraints the village has, and that it might create a whole new understanding of how the village works. And so that's where I think sometimes those public engagement meetings are just as important as the plan because it really does support the board members and that when you're making those tough choices on funding or road improvements, whatever it might be.
Very good.
Anyone else?
I'll just mention, I think, thank you so much, you guys, for coming. We wanted for you guys to have a chance to ask questions. I think from my perspective, from an administrative viewpoint is, obviously a good estimate, I think a good plan, good referral from Paul. We do not need for this type of work to go and create a formal RFP, but the question for this group is, do we want to go and receive other estimates for this type of work? Cedar Corps had done our previous plan. Doesn't mean we have to use them for this new one. Again, we think what the county has provided is fantastic and at a quite frankly, very good rate. But before we were to move forward, we wanted you to have a chance to ask questions and then guidance for me on how do you want me to proceed? Come back with a motion to approve this or go do some more legwork?
I would like a motion to approve this.
I would agree.
Okay.
And I was at the county's open house for their plan that was just completed, and they did a spectacular job explaining to people what was in the plan, what it all meant, and the output is really fabulous. And I'm so excited.
So we'll have this on the agenda for next month.
Next month, yep.
if that's what you'd like, and that, because I don't know how fast you want to move forward with it. Everybody's in summer months too, and that as far as scheduling, are you going to get more public participation in the fall? But you can take and have this on the meeting next month, and then you can kind of, if you want to hit the brakes and that and do this more through the fall, winter, and that, we're open to it. That's not how we got it proposed, but really the timing as far as our staff workload and stuff will work either way.
Yeah, no, I think the motion will be, to approve or whatever and stuff like that, so then you can start scheduling and do what we gotta do,
Okay.
with the county and stuff. I don't think there's a lot of folks out there that do their help with comprehensive plans that aren't outrageous, and we kinda looked at that, and I appreciate the county offering the service, and
Yeah.
like I said, Paul's been through it, and obviously you guys have done a good job. Mary's, sat in and stuff, so, yeah, we'll get it done on August schedule, and we can
Okay.
hit the road running by after that, okay?
Okay, sounds very good. So, yep. Okay, thank you.
Good. Thank you very much. Alrighty then. You guys don't need to stick around unless you're really bored. But if you want to stick around, we've got several items on the agenda for, information and stuff. Next item is,
1 second, Stan. They have one more quick question for you.
what's that?
I thought you said you had one more question.
Oh, no,
Oh.
we're good. So, yep.
You sure?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Hello. All right, we okay now? All right, next item is Plan Commission recommendations. Chair update, the chair was absent for the meeting. Tim DeCicero stepped in as the temporary chair, and
We did meet.
and you guys did meet, so I'll let Paul summarize that. I've read the minutes, and
Well,
there was a lot of stuff on the agenda, I know that.
the meeting started out, and Mary gave a great presentation to the Plan Commission about the comprehensive plan, give them an idea of what they're in for, because that group is the one that's gonna be doing the majority of the work on this. After that, I guess I would say the meeting got spirited.
Is that what you call that?
There was a petition to vacate a road down by Browns Beach, and a request to put a driveway through where the individual wanted to vacate the road. And after much bantering back and forth between the various applicants, the Plan Commission, sick and tired of hearing it, and tabled the whole works for next month. And hopefully people will settle down a little bit at the next meeting.
And that's it?
That's it.
I like short and concise. Thanks, Paul. Okay, item 10. Personnel and Finance Committee recommendations, claims approval requested.
Stan, can I move to recommend the board to approve the July 2024 non-recurring claims of $121,549?
Thank you, Kirk. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Brian. Comments or questions?
Anything out of the ordinary?
What was that?
I said anything out of the ordinary.
Nothing out of the ordinary. The biggest claims came through items that were previously budgeted. $47,000 to the workman's comp and liability policy pay, $61,000 for the purchase and installation of the squad cameras, and some about $3,000 for some patching to St. Croix County. But again, nothing that was not expected.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, this is spending. Mary?
Yes.
Dusty?
Yes.
Barb?
Yes.
Yes?
John?
Yes.
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 You pulled me.
I like a little drama.
I just had a brain thing, you know.
I know, that's okay, I did too.
The bite me moment, you know, so. Okay, so that's approved. Next on the agenda, Public Works Committee recommendations, chair update, Brian.
Dan, we did meet. There's a couple items, just nothing that we're bringing forward today, but next meeting, so the board's aware. We discussed the PRVs in the specific residential areas that we have to deal with. They're getting old, they're breaking, et cetera. And we're talking about 700 apiece. And due to the deteriorating state of those PRVs, a proposal is being made to set up an escrow account to reimburse homeowners up to $700 for replacing the PRVs within a proposed time frame of 3 years. So that's coming next meeting. Just want to make you guys aware of it. Also on the flex ceiling, we've learned that our public works crew for $3,000 can be trained to do the flex ceiling. Now we have like 8 to 10 grand set aside, and we have 6 of our basins that need fixed this year that we'll be using this year's budget for. But going forward, the idea is we're on a 30-year plan to flex seal 173 of the storm sewers, and we've got 42 done. And it's just going to take too long. The flex sealing is guaranteed for 20 years, just so you guys remember that. So we want to get it done faster. So Matt and crew came up with the idea that they could be trained for $3 grand, and then they could do the work at a cost of about $83,000 instead of $207,000. So that's going to come up on our next meeting as well. That's all I got.
Hey, Brian, remind me again, what's a PRV?
A pressure reducing valve.
Thank you.
And I have a question about that too. So is that the village cost or the homeowner's cost? Like, where is that located?
Oh, I need Matt. Oh, actually, you can answer that, Kevin.
It's the ones closest to the actual pump or.
The booster station.
Yeah.
Up by the booster station.
There's, I think, I don't know the exact number of homes, but we are required to maintenance those, and they have to replace within so many years. So it was said if we give them 3 years to replace it, then there will be no issues with them, and they'll take responsibility going forward in their home themselves. But since we have to maintenance these, we would pay up to X dollars within those 3 years to get them fixed, because they checked the last few that they've fixed, and they came within $1 range, and we're giving them just a little bit more than that to make sure they have 3 years to get it done for that price.
So it's the homeowner's cost. It's not the village.
We will pay
We'll pay.
replace them within 3 years.
It's
We
our
have to-
booster station that's causing it. We have a booster station that's pushing it out, and they need to reduce as it goes into the house. Is that the
Yep.
best way to say it?
Yep.
And this is water, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then after this will be their responsibility, not the board's responsibility.
Is this in an ordinance or something?
It was written in many, many years ago somewhere that we are responsible for these. I don't know exactly where it was.
Matt looked it up.
Yep.
So it's in the ordinances?
That development that came in.
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll go on to item 12, Public Safety Committee, Chair update. Mary?
So we don't have anything to bring forward, but a few things to make the board aware of. The chief's report was about the body cameras being installed, and we also had information from our animal warden, Daryl Hall, who was there, and we talked about the proposed animal ordinance changes and are going to be moving forward with creating regulation around chickens and licensing around chickens. And that's really important for village residents to realize, because there will be requirements for coop size. There will be restrictions potentially, or being proposed regulations on coop size and proposed restrictions on selling eggs, and some fairly significant detail to the living conditions of chickens in order to have them licensed and approved for the village.
Are they licensed now?
No.
And you're saying you're asking us to approve the licensing of them?
We're not bringing it forward yet, but we will be. Yes, we will be bringing forward amendments to the current animal ordinance. And we will certainly want to post those proposed changes so that village residents have opportunity to see them and to give us feedback about them. So look forward to that. We're continuing to clean up the ordinance that we have, and so that'll take us some time.
Is there a reason why it was focused on this now?
So this has been actually part of public safety agenda for quite some time. It preceded my being the chair, and the animal warden has appeared at every meeting since, asking that we do this. So we are considering that. Obviously, it'll be the board's decision what that actually looks like.
Would we be discussing it as a board before you recommend this posting to the neighborhood?
We haven't finished working on the ordinance at the committee level. So once we've got it done at the committee level, then it seems like that would make sense. I mean, it'll be in the minutes or in the, postings about the meeting that are online, the public information, public meeting information.
You mean your minutes?
No, in the posting, where all the information about the public meetings is posted. If you click into the calendar, the village calendar, and click into the date, the documents come up.
Right.
So it'll be coming up so that people will be able to see it, and we'll make another statement as well about that.
Are you asking if the board will review that recommendation before it's posted to the public?
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'd like the opportunity to review what you're proposing for ordinance changes related to the chickens or goats or whatever before we post it and irritate the public. That's just a thought, my opinion only.
Paul, is there a protocol on how we would do this? Does it have to be approved through public safety before it's brought to the board, or can it be done simultaneously?
You can bring it up as a draft for the board, if the board wants to see it in that form. And then it can be put out to the public as a draft for comment, if you'd like to do it that way.
A draft for comment, so we'd post it as a draft for comment, and then people would provide written comment, I would imagine.
Yeah, if you want to, there's no requirement to have a public hearing or anything like that on it, but,
Well, I would certainly think that that it would be fair to hear from the public.
yeah, and, they're welcome to come to your committee meetings too.
Yes, they are.
And, get input, and maybe that's more effective, it's a smaller group, and better say that at that level. But
Have we been getting complaints by the warden about the chickens and everything else like this, or?
I've talked to Gina. We have not received complaints that she's aware of. And that's also part of what we really need to do, is to start to get a system in place to track the complaints so that we really know. And that's part of what's being included in the proposed ordinance, is that that information will be tracked.
We're not that far into this, really. We're just getting together and looking at areas that have been requested to be changed and comments and things, so.
As long as
Yep.
you got, as long as you got something in there about shooting roosters on site, I'm okay with it.
So the proposal does not,
Discharge your
it's-
firearm
it's proposed,
in the village.
Glad that didn't come from a trustee.
it's proposed to not allow, that roosters would not be permitted
I kind of
in the
figured
village.
We've been dealing with the noise ordinance, so.
Yeah. So yes, so much excitement, and so many things to consider to make sure that we're hearing everyone's perspective and that the ordinance is good for the residents here. We also had Chief Spielman, the fire chief, who said they've got 7 new people starting this month, which is really very exciting. So that's great for all of our safety. We have requested information from Lakeview EMS and are waiting to hear what we might be able to gain from them. Their report that was shared at the joint fire didn't specifically call out the data for the village, so we'd be interested in getting information about the data for the village, the frequency of calls, the service level, how long it takes them to respond, highest, lowest, that kind of thing. So we're hoping to get that information. And then we also were very appreciative at the last meeting to have our municipal judge, Nemec, and Karen McAsee, the municipal judge clerk, come and talk with us about the municipal court. I know Gina has prepared information, and I think you've all seen it, about information about the I guess it was written as a pros and cons for the chief, I think, as well, the pros and cons about the municipal court. And the things that were, I think things that we learned that might be informational for the rest of the board is that the municipal court, about 24% of the hearings involve residents of the village of North Hudson, that we have an ability through our municipal court to hear things more quickly than they would if they went to the district court, and to protect records of juveniles in ways that can't be protected if they would go through the municipal court, which I think was pretty compelling for our committee. And there's a number of things, if anyone, there's a number of things anyway that we discussed looking at the full municipal court, and the judge and the clerk brought us a lot of data. And at this point, we have decided to not take any action on the municipal court, which means that the municipal court, we're not making a recommendation to make any changes.
Anything else?
And that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, how about number 13, Public Welfare Committee? Kirkster?
We did not meet.
Did not meet. How about the Park Board?
We did meet, but we have nothing to bring forward.
Thank you. Okay, item 15 is convene into closed session. So the board may convene into closed session for point A pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent lowercase e, to deliberate, negotiate the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. With respect to sewer and interceptor agreements, ad hoc committee updates, and then there's item B is board may convene in a closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85, parent 1, parent lowercase g, for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the village of North Hudson, who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is or likely to become involved with respect to businesses being conducted without proper permits within the village. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I move to go into closed session.
Thank you, Dusty. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Sounds
Thank
good. Thank
you.
you.